The elaboration of coal begins by making the square, which consists of cleaning with the hoe the place where the firewood bundle is to be placed. If the combustion process develops normally, the 10,000 kilos of firewood that is going to be stacked will be reduced to 1/3 of the charcoal. On top of the pile of fine and dry twigs, Hilario begins to place the firewood bundle, which consists of stacking the firewood neatly and vertically. This stick is the guide that is put here, which we call the mayor. After stacking the thin trunks in the center, the body of the firewood bundle is built with the thickest. In all his work, Hilario keeps the hole outward to light the firewood bundle with the correct orientation depending on the prevailing winds in the area. To facilitate the firing of firewood on the fat trunks, which occupy the center part of the pile, Hilario stacks again thin branches around its entire perimeter. Chaired by the mayor that is served throughout the process to keep the symmetry of the firewood bundle, the firewood is ready for its firing. But to cook the firewood, it is necessary to bury the firewood bundle. The branches and the leaves of the boxwoods, or buchos, are the most appropriate to branch out the charcoal kiln. It consists of covering all the firewood with a layer of fine leaves that prevent the soil from seeping between the trunks. To branch out the firewood bundle, the charcoal workers also used the leaf litter from the oak trees of the oaks or pines, if this plant material was predominant in the area. At noon, the firewood bundle is already branched out and ready to be buried. Burying the firewood bundle consists of covering the wood with a layer of fine soil that these charcoal workers collect with the blow of a hoe. The qualities and degrees of humidity of the soil will notably influence in the charcoal quality obtained at the end of the process. But the most important thing in the soil is that there are no stones. The transport to the firewood bundle is done with the carry cots, some wicker containers that at the same time facilitate the uniform fixation of the soil on the surface, preserving the ideal thickness between 10 and 12 centimeters. As Hilario and Eugenio advance with the rooftop, they place the stones and trunks that will serve as stairs to access the upper part. With the last rays of light in the afternoon, the firewood bundle is fully covered and ready to cook. The upper crown remains uncovered to facilitate firing during combustion. The next day, Hilario turns on the firewood bundle, inserting to the center bunches of firewood with fire. Once the flames reach the gorse and dry twigs that occupy the heart of the firewood bundle, these will ignite by starting combustion, or charring. When the twig of the center has lit and the fire begins to pull up, it's time to cover the whole of the base and control the displacement of the flame on the inside. As the charcoal kiln has the firing in the upper part, the fire will rise slowly until it reaches the opening. From this moment on, the charcoal worker's job is reduced to attending the fire, to control it and lead it to his will. But this part of the process is the most important and the one that requires the most experience, so all the work done is not spoiled. The extreme combustion control, which will last approximately for about a week, forces Hilario to build a shack with the appropriate dimensions to stay day and night in front of the firewood bundle. On the boxwood branches, Hilario places orderly and shaped like scales the tascas of soil that will form the shack walls. The inclined position of the trunks facilitates the strength of the wooden structure to the weight of this thick layer of soil. The charcoal worker's shack had to have the minimum comforts that would allow him to keep warm in the winter and support the unpleasant rainy days. The stone tiles and the mud are the only materials that the charcoal workers needed to build this little kitchen of his temporary cabin. The shape of the shacks of the charcoal workers varied from one area to another, but the technique was always the same, imitating a charcoal kiln. When the charcoal kiln is already well lit, they have to cover the upper opening with grass first and soil after to better control the fire. Because from this moment, there's a possibility that the wood burns instead of cooking, as the charcoal workers say. Because it has been holed. What I tell you. The fire is coming to this side. The risk is always present, especially when uncontrolled holes are done from which the charcoal kiln would breathe, burning the firewood. The knowledge of the good charcoal worker lies in knowing how to conduct the fire through the inside of the charcoal kiln during the combustion according to his interest at any time, and counteracting the prevailing winds. To do this, Hilario uses the fumeras, which are holes that allow to regulate the orientation and the amount of air that enters in the firewood bundle. Also, the smoke that comes out of the fumeras indicates to the charcoal worker the status of the firing, that there must never be ember nor flame, nor blue smoke. With blue smoke, then the coal is being used up. Not only firewood, but the coal made is being spent as soon as the blue smoke comes out in a fumera. These first hours of firing are the ones that require the most attention from the charcoal worker until the fire is stabilized and is kept under control. After 24 hours of firing, the fire in the firewood bundle is perfectly controlled, and the color of the smoke is a proof of the excellent combustion development. As it is cooking, the soil sinks. For inside. As the fire goes down, the upper part of the firewood bundle is hollow, and our friend Hilario must fill in the soil and cover any holes that have occurred. Our friend the charcoal worker continues to control the evolution of the fire inside of the firewood bundle, and he observes that it is necessary to give it rencidura. To feed the charcoal kiln, or ferencidura, consists of pouring trunks into the inside of the opening to fuel the fire, preventing that way that the flame passes to the rest of the charcoal kiln, consuming the firewood. For a good product to come out, the charcoal worker must maintain a very slow combustion and try to avoid the negative influence from the winds. With the last rays of light of the afternoon, the charcoal kiln continues to cook at a normal rate. But when night falls, the charcoal worker can't rest. The firewood bundle needs punctual care that, if it is not issued at the time, could spoil some of the work done. In order to regulate the fire, Hilario lowers the fumeras as the blue smoke starts to come out, indicative that the coal has already been cooked in that area. These momentary attentions will prevent him from enjoying the rest he deserves. The days and nights of wakefulness go by, of constant presence in the firewood bundle, of communication with fire and smoke that with its color and viscosity inform the charcoal worker of the status of the firing. The time is passing, and the fumeras are getting closer to the ground every time, which indicates that the process is near the end. At dawn on the 8th day, Hilario proceeds to cool down the firewood bundle and to remove the coal in layers, starting gradually from the lower part. The pieces of wood that have been in contact with the ground come out unburned. These pieces are called chalks and will be cooked in another smaller charcoal kiln called ricocho. To cool down the firewood bundle and to extract the coal, Hilario uses the hoe, the rake, the hook, and the shovel. Fortunately, today has been a mild day. If it was too windy, the charcoal worker would have to close quickly the openings where the coal is taken out, because it could light the firewood bundle. The coal comes out hot. When the coal has already cooled and does not run the risk of turning on, Hilario picks it up with the carry cots to pile it in a corner of the square and put it in a sack when the time comes. In the flourishing times of this activity, for the collection and storage of the coal, all the family members were involved. With family help, Hilario has been able to reach to the center of the firewood bundle. There is the heart turned into ashes as a result of the combustion of the trunks that were used for the renciduras. The resulting product from many days of work is spread out on the square, between the tools and under the presence of the shack and the following charcoal kiln. Starting in the 1960s, with the implementation of butane in the kitchens and the petroleum derivatives in the industry, that millenary use of charcoal which, among other things, was used to obtain the iron and work in the forges, plummeted. Today, thanks to the will of Hilario Artigas and his family in the town of Frago, as a tribute to those charcoal workers who kept clean and accessible the forests of oaks and holm oaks, will be perpetuated this old trade in the future museum territory.